Morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. Maggie Wolfendale, Andy Serling. You are fresh back from
Whew,
your home
fresh is a
from
loaded
Maryland.
word.
Yeah, okay. Maggie had a little subway adventure this morning as well. It was a
I
lot of.
did.
I
I
really wish you had
did.
just had gone with me, but I didn't get on where you got on. You got on 34th. I was downtown. So, did you have a nice time
Oh,
at
you
the
were
Preakness?
downtown. I had so much fun at the
Good.
Preakness. As you can tell, my voice is a little bit raspy. I got to hang out with a great girlfriend of mine that I never get to see from high school. We
Nice.
had so much fun, and catch up with a lot of people that I don't often get to see anymore.
I'm trying to remember when I saw you down here. You introduced me to your dad. It was a long
Boy.
time ago, man.
Well,
It
that's what
must
I
have been
said.
shortly
is I
after you started
hadn't-
working here.
Yeah, I hadn't been there since I was pregnant with Grace, which was 9 years ago.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
I listen. I know that Pimlico is a bit of a dump, but I have great love for Pimlico
So
and so
many
great
memories for me.
memories to Preakness. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it was a little bittersweet to know that it likely is not going to be there anymore.
Yeah, but they're going to build something
Yeah,
new, so that's
right.
great.
And I like it. It looks, at least at the renderings, it looks like it's a nod to the way back grandstand when it was
Cool.
historical in the 1800s.
and when it wasn't condemned,
Right.
that's also true. But no, I don't. I mean, we can all make a little fun of Pimlico, but I don't
Yeah,
appreciate
it
the
is-
bashing because,
Oh,
I mean,
no.
Preakness is one of the most fun weekends. And
It literally
if
is.
you've never gone and you're around this area, it's easy to go to. It's just a fun weekend in Baltimore.
It really is. And even like downtown and everything like that, it's just everybody's out and about and having a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it's great. And as far as the race, I mean, I'm journalism obviously was sort of heroic in winning. We'll talk about it more in the show today and get people's views. I think that Rispoli put him in a spot he didn't belong in unnecessary. I think he rode him a bit like he was 10-1 and not even money.
It was weird because I have to go back and maybe you have and look at the internal fractions because they did speed it up, and I feel like at that point he was off the bridle and he was riding him. But it almost feels like Rispoli is regarded as a very talented turf rider, and that's where a lot of people like to bet him per se in California. It's almost like he rode him like he was a turf horse. Like they were on
I
the turf.
completely agree with that.
You know what I mean?
That's a great point.
And God bless
completely
journalism.
agree.
Because how game was he? How brave was he?
A lot of horses will not fight through a hole like that. And
I mean, it was like he was like, "No, get out of my way!" Like, I mean, most
and
horses
people
are like
blaming
"Ugh."
Flavian.
No,
I mean,
Flavian
that
held
is
his line.
insane. I mean,
He
to
held
me,
his line.
absolutely, and he has a right to do that. And
Yeah, he's
the horse kind of
ahead of
took his
him.
back end out when he was coming through that
Exactly.
spot. And I don't believe there should have been a DQ, but I mean, I do think if anybody fouled anybody, journalism fouled goal oriented. He was not probably going anywhere, and he finished where he likely was going to finish.
Yeah.
One of my favorites of the race is forgetting about all that. When they get, like, I guess, 8th pole to 16th pole, when Sandman, who's closing, who's had a clean run, is sort of right on journalism's flank, and journalism just accelerates, and Sandman
I
just
know. Well,
plods
like,
along a little bit.
what if journalism had Sandman's trip?
I think he wins much more easily.
Easily, right.
I think he's, we'll talk about it more in the shows. I'm glad he won, and I think he's a terrific horse.
I just
and
wish he didn't have to win like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
It was a
agree.
hard race.
It was, and hopefully
for
we'll
him
see
to
them all in
bounce out,
Saratoga.
exactly.
So,
I mean, that's
I'm looking forward to the
the
Belmont
drawback.
Stakes. Obviously, it was an eventful Preakness, that's for sure. Head over to Naira Bets. You know the drill. Match 200. We'll match the $200 of your initial deposit. We have the Belmont Stakes Betting Challenge, a $5,000 buy-in. You have until, I guess, around Thursday or Friday of Belmont Week. Get the information over at nairabets.com. 2 BC seats. That's the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge for those of you that don't know. Both of you, on track and online. We have a cross-country Big Five. Eddie's very excited about this, and especially because I thought it should be the John C. Riley handicap,
Oh yeah.
Not J. Riley. Sorry, all
Okay.
due respect. Just
Yeah. I feel you.
3 Monmouths, 2 here, and these races will be on America's Day at the Races, 3 to 5:30 today. And we even brought the MIG back so we could
Yes,
talk more
to
about
get
the
his
Preakness.
intellect.
Yes. Maggie was concerned that something else might have happened that brought him back, but in fact, no, he's here because we.
Well, I was about to say, sorry, I'm so bad at my job that you have to bring Richie in for reinforcement.
Well, we weren't really sure that you were going to make it back alive
That's
from
also
Maryland
true.
or from your
I almost
subway
didn't.
trip. So
Exactly.
you're back anyway. No, I'm glad you went, and fun time. And
Yeah, thank you.
I'm just a little, I wish that Pimlico. I think they should have made. I understand running races after. One of the reasons you run races after is give people a chance to get out of there. I kind of wish that Pimlico ended on a
On the Preakness.
Preakness. You
Yeah.
know, it just seems like it would have been a nice way. Anyway, race number 1. Get those picks up, Eddie. All right, we both picked the 8, but can we switch the videos and show Sassy Shenanigans first, Ed? Thank you. I tell you, I thought she ran really well last time. The rail was a bit of an advantage. She didn't break that sharply, kind of
She
took
got
herself
knocked
out
around.
of the race.
Yeah, and had to steady her back and stuff. And I don't like her first race gives the indication. Granted, it was way back when as an early 2-year-old. That she's not completely devoid of speed. So I guess that's what they're trying to do with those blinkers going back on. I don't think she should have been or isn't, relegated to that off the pace spot every time she runs.
I agree, and especially with an outside post, she should be able to put herself in position. Now, obviously, and you know this, of course, that there are a lot of horses that show speed. I think Sandman had speed in the beginning of his career.
I mean, they're
as
cranked
did Crypto
up.
Clearance,
They're cranked up.
two
Exactly.
dead closers. It's just,
right, or Palace
it's
Malice.
Really,
or,
yeah, it's really interesting to watch the evolution of horses, 2-year-olds that had speed. And the other thing was the winner of this race is okay.
Yeah,
so I thought it was
she
a
is.
good effort. I like her as you do. And listen, I don't have anything against Princess Mischief. We'll take a look at her last race. The only thing I'll say about her is, don't you kind of want to see this effort again on a dry
100%.
track? Because it was such a jump forward for her, albeit an improving 3-year-old off a 3-month layoff, but still.
And this was a very good effort because she too had trouble at the start, and she was able to save ground for the most part, and then tipped incredibly wide and just really honestly just missed. She really ran through the stretch, which you like to see. And a lot of honestly my picks kind of came down to also what I've seen from these horses physically.
Right.
And she's one I've never liked.
Oh, okay.
And I've always liked Sassy Shenanigans. So I too agree with you that I feel like her better efforts, for the most part, at least, her maiden win too, have come on a wet track, and she's not getting that.
Okay, you're going to have to explain to me how you're getting 13 red flags into this number.
Oh my God, that's a mistake.
I was wondering.
That's a mistake. I'm so sorry.
Supposed to be.
2.
You should be.
It's the 2.
You should be very, very
It's
sorry.
the 2.
Maggie. Very sorry. Yeah, she actually ran well last time, and Artemis Sound ran well against a tougher field to get second while you were out yesterday.
Right.
And I agree. She did run well in her last race. I had catchphrase in there because I thought she'd be the controlling speed. I'm not a particularly big fan of hers, but I thought maybe as the speed, she could be a little dangerous.
Yeah, and it does feel like, Rudy had a good day, 2 days ago?
He did. I don't want to bet too many horses
Yeah.
claim from Amelia Green, not
That's the
because,
thing.
and nothing against Rudy, but the way her horses are running, good luck to people improving horses from her.
Well, exactly.
I mean, she's made quite a splash in just a few months going out on her own.
Right, and yes, I do agree with you that catchphrase is the clear cut speed. I just thought there would be enough to keep her honest in here with Splashy and Vehemente.
Is Splashy going to get her act together? Well, I finally stopped betting on her, so Splashy will probably
Good for
run
you.
well today. Race number 2. Race number 2. Take your time, Eddie. I don't want you to hurry.
I probably messed up my picks again.
Let's start with the video of the top horse I put on top. You have third, Blake B. Maggie, I just thought this horse going into Linda Rice's barn was a little over the head last time out. I don't know what happened. This horse dropped so far out last time. But that was a day that the rail was good, and the race kind of fell apart, so maybe the horse was picking up pieces at the end. But I don't know what happened. This horse was so far back last time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's weird, right?
I feel like once upon a time he was a horse that
Used to be a speed.
Right.
Not that long ago.
So I don't know. Other than maybe he wasn't getting a hold of the racetrack.
Maybe that's what it was, and it's very possible. You don't see any muddy sealed racetrack, in his recent lines, and maybe he just had trouble dealing with the track. And I thought his race 2 back would make him tough in here. And going into Linda's barn, I put him on top.
I like the 7 furlongs for her. JJ's Joker came back, obviously complimented that race with a 78 buyer. Ultimately, I went to our good friend Jake Rocks.
He just doesn't win anymore,
I
Maggie.
know.
He has trouble getting out of the
never
gate.
has
And he
really
has
won,
the
except
rail.
for Rob Atras.
Yeah. I picked him second. I'm not against him either. Dropping down, he fits.
And 2 back, he was kind of. I thought he ran well that day, and then last time he was just completely against the racetrack. It was a speedy day.
Yeah, no, I agree.
rail,
I agree. That's why
And
I
he
got him
was
second.
chasing outside, and Hatch was a massive number.
He was, and he was somehow
And
ended
he
up the
was the
speed. It
speed.
even
I
looked like
was
the
like,
speed on
what?
paper,
Yeah.
and he ended up in the lead.
So I feel like that's a race you can totally forgive him for. Now he's back at the level where at times he can show that he can win for 12-5. And you and I are both huge fans of Fernando Abreu.
Well, people are going to start noticing he's got, he had a nice win with Whittingham Park last time, who ran very
Yes.
well after getting left
God, the amount
yesterday.
of times I've chased that horse.
Well,
I
chased him yesterday.
Good- well
got the money
done.
with him.
Good
Well, I
job.
mean, he was way against the track in a couple starts back.
was.
I don't know how he paid the price he did. I'm with them. I guess the only other horse that's interesting is the one you have second, simply because it's a huge rider switch to Flavien Prat.
Yes, exactly.
That terrible man who's the villain of the Preakness, apparently, according to Twitter. Having nothing to do with the fact he was riding a horse for Bob Baffert.
Literally?
Apparently, it's Bob's fault.
It's Bob's fault. It's a conspiracy.
That Roberto Rispoli tried to
that-
bust through on the inside.
Yep.
It's Bob's fault.
Yep.
It's a bad man.
So Beachwalker, a horse that I've at times just been a fan of. You know what? I've tried to get there with him, but I mean, this is a serious upgrade. Now, granted, 3-back, he had Joel on him,
He did.
but I do feel like
Going a mile, a little far.
little far, right? The 7/8. Flavien is a rider that he'll get his position.
I think he's a little bit interesting. It's funny, you look at him. This is a horse that's 5 for 53 on the dirt in his career, but he's 3 for 12 at 7 furlongs for whatever. that
Right,
is
and
worth.
two, I thought there was enough speed in here. With Best Bet, return
I
the
don't
ring.
know what to do with Best Bet. I just don't know if he
Ooh,
can run it anymore.
he's Jekyll and Hyde. He scares me. And I just thought
been
Beachwalker
so
would be
bad.
complemented by any sort of pace that he gets to run
See
at.
what happens. Track certainly played fairly, I thought, on yesterday's
Good.
card. Race number 3. I guess we'll start out by showing Chelonian, is that how you pronounce
Mm-hmm.
it, who was very impressive last time out. I didn't pick him. Can he come back and run that race on a fast track? Or did we miss the wedding last time?
Yeah, you kind of feel like that, getting 10-1 on a Linda Rice first off the claim, 100%. And he beat some pretty, venerable veterans of the game in Runnin' Ray, Skylander, just horses that, continuously hold their form quite well. So I give him extra credit points. Obviously, the figure was high, and not that he necessarily has to run that figure again to win here. I just, I kind of...
Isn't the pace a little bit faster,
Faster,
today, too?
right,
today,
exactly.
And potentially gets caught up in what could be a quick pace. I'm not going to be shocked if he wins. I've got him second. You've got him on top. I kind of wanted to go to Legal Deal, and we'll take a
I
look
know,
at
I
Legal
could've
Deal
flip-flopped these
2-back
two.
because I just thought he'd get a little more pace to run at in this race. I don't know what went on at Laurel, where he was down on the inside, but he's a better horse than that. And thought his races, this race and the prior 2 races, were all very good. And I just thought he'd get some pace to close into in here. And I thought that might adversely affect the 5 if they're moving up front and might help him.
And two, looking at the Laurel race, so often you don't want to be on the inside there for whatever
Yep.
reason. And two, the one thing that kind of just made me put him second, if you will, and I respect this effort that he comes out of, that we're watching here, and the horses that came back and ran out of there ran well, including like Castle Island, for instance, who was last that day and won with an 85. I don't love the fact that he kind of wants to get out a little bit. And I just thought if I was going to split hairs between these two
Drawing
horses,
the rail, you think that's an issue a bit?
it could be.
Okay, that's a fair point.
And mainly just on the turn. It could have nothing to do with his performance.
I
there.
thought about margin of error, but I can't bet the horse in an entry because I don't like Tabawatch at all. I don't think Tabawatch can run anymore. I don't
No,
want
I think-
any part of that horse.
I mean,
Margin of
he
error
has, like-
scares me, but because of the entry, I can't pick these horses. And I
No.
kind of felt similarly about the entry with Concord Spirit, who I think is a little bit interesting, though I don't think they're going to bet on this entry very much. I think Concord Spirit was a little bit dangerous. I know he just went bad on a sloppy track. Last time out was a huge speed track. You go back 3 starts and 4 starts, and he's competitive here. I
Yeah.
don't think he's impossible at a price to get something here. Ada Laura's been on a good run.
He really has. I just don't know how he necessarily classes up. with
He's
this
probably not quite as good as some of these,
Yeah.
but not, and maybe he's better going a little bit shorter, to be honest.
Right.
But I thought he's a horse that's a little bit better than he looks. Sloppy track against the bias, so I gave him a shot.
I thought Royal Tris getting a little bit more ground to work with could work in his favor. Now he caught 2 wet tracks, and before he loved a wet track. I don't like the fact that he hasn't.
But
run
he's
well
a
on them.
7-year-old, and sometimes these horses get
They change.
older, and they
Yeah.
just don't like a wet track like they used to. And the race was pretty good. 3 races back. I'm just not sure it's good enough to win here.
Right.
But we'll see what happens in race 3. Race number 4. It's Good card today.
It is
So
very
I'm wondering in
competitive.
race 4 how much they're going to bet on the ledge. A horse you have 4th and I have nowhere, and sort of the only replay I could find to show because he had this huge
He
win
ran
last time. But
huge.
this field is like
Horrible.
It's like he's moving into the Breeders' Cup based on where he was last time out.
I could not agree more. I was really impressed with this effort. And I think it shocked us just because of the long layoff. And, was he ready to come back and kind of deliver off that voided claim as well? Yes, emphatically was the answer. But this is a big jump for me.
This is a huge, huge move up. So who'd you put on top in here?
The 7.
Oh, we both put the 7 on top, so why don't you
stolen
talk
base.
about him?
Because
his form recently is
for the
great.
exact same reason that I don't like on the ledge, because he has faced superior horses. I feel like even in the 50 last time. I mean, Certified Lover Boy, who I think maybe just is crying out for those marathon type of distances, he still came back and ran a 95. I mean, you look at 24 Mamba, who's in good form.
He had no
analysis.
shot in that race
None at
whatsoever.
all.
And I want to say something,
Off a
though.
layoff.
I think that the chart comment of unprepared start is
I could not agree
embarrassing
more.
because
I don't know what was unprepared about it.
Well, what's going on is there is a narrative that some people have that races have been started too quickly. And so there may be somebody using his own personal agenda and opinion to
we're
infiltrate
about to
the
get a new
charts.
starter
Correct.
as well,
But he didn't do
so
anything wrong in
no.
this race. And I
No,
like
I agree with you.
I
In
watched
this
the
race,
head-on and the start of this race a number
did
of
too.
times.
I was like,
and
what?
It's absolutely untrue that this horse was unprepared for the start. And if you want to criticize people in the game,
Yeah, he was the
it's-
last one
we're
in,
all
but
fair game.
he was ready.
But get us when we all say something stupid, which
Yeah.
I'll do. Maggie will do on occasion. You want to criticize us, go after us when we do something wrong. But it hurts your case when you're just doing unprepared start constantly. This horse was not unprepared for the start.
No, I don't.
He broke fine.
Yeah.
I have
agree.
no idea how you could say that legitimately. What about Duke of Gloucester? Oh, we have the same opinions here. Duke of
Yeah.
Gloucester, I think, is very, very dangerous.
Michael
cutting
Moore
back
has
in distance.
excellent numbers cutting his horses back. Well, I mean, excellent. They're on par with
He
what
does. He's 20%, almost 20% with a 220 ROI. So
Right.
they're overachieving.
Now, granted, looking at this horse physically, he does not scream that he wants to sprint, but in the past, he has run effectively enough for me to say that with Michael training him, maybe he can be effective at this distance. And last time out, Harp's hot corner wiring the field that day at Park. So, Duke of Gloucester, I think. And this is a weird race because it's littered with turnback horses. And I honestly am not really thrilled about any of them per se with the turnback. He is the most appealing.
I agree with that. And, like Slip Mahoney. This is a funny race because I've
You
given up on
terrible
scheduling dude
form.
who's been running against 3-year-olds in his races, and he's now facing older horses, and he's not even good enough against them, though he is a speed, but on the ledge is going to run with him. Christopher Elliott's not going to rate on the ledge.
Right.
Slip Mahoney was once a good horse, and I do respect the claim by Ilke, but he has terrible numbers turning horses
Right.
back,
Terrible.
and I don't have any confidence this horse can still run. Neural Network has been terrible. So for me, the 7 and 5 were kind of the ones I went to because I just didn't want anybody else.
Well, exactly. I mean, Macron, I thought was a little bit interesting. I feel like, we haven't seen Dan Ward run that many horses here. I've liked the work that he's done out at Oaklawn, but it seems like this thing that he always does, he'll claim a horse and stretch it out first off the claim, and then it actually works better when he turns
But his
it
turnback
back.
numbers aren't good. He's 1 for 5
yeah,
second off a
that's
claim.
true.
He's 3 for 22
No,
overall.
I looked that up too.
I'll tell you what concerns me about this horse, and I don't disagree that he certainly can win. I don't want a horse that ran 5 or 6 times the winter at Oaklawn. Those horses have been underachieving going to other racetracks.
Well, I completely agree with you. And as we've talked about it, just to expound on that, it's because it's such a hard track to train over.
It's a tough track.
I mean, they have to deal with so much weather
Agreed.
as well.
I'm not criticizing Oaklawn. It is what it is.
It
These
is, but that's tough on the horses at
Right.
the end of the day.
And this horse ran 5 times down at
I feel-
Oaklawn, so
I
I'm a little
understand.
bit skittish on believing he's going
Yeah.
to come back. But it's an interesting race. I think it's a fun card today, actually.
It is. These
nice
turf
that all the
races
turfs
are-
stay together. Yeah, I think in race 5, as we look at competitive market, who you have on top and I have second. And competitive threat, excuse me. I wrote competitive market. 'Cause I'm an idiot.
I feel lazy
just-
picking her.
Well,
but I didn't know what else to
I got some
go.
stats for you.
All right.
Okay. Overall, maiden special weight, maiden claimer turf routes. Chad's 12 for 59, $1.60 ROI. So they're basically running around the takeout. They're short-priced horses. But if you start looking at the ones like these done for Karovich, he's 5 for 32 with a 79-cent ROI. When he does it at Belmont, and when he does it outside of Saratoga, he's 3 for 15 with a 93-cent ROI. So the numbers on these drop-downs aren't great. This horse is basically a horse that he's had, he's dropping because he can't keep on the racetrack. He's not only not that good, he can't keep him on the racetrack. And I just don't want to cop out with him at a short price, but he's the horse to beat.
She,
excuse me.
She ran against boys last time and was beaten by a decent horse in Padiddle.
That's my cover for getting it wrong, because I get it wrong 80% of the time anyway.
It's okay. I strongly
I agree about you on Padiddle, yes.
I strongly considered YOLO, as you have her on top.
Got a better post.
The lack of speed from her scares me. And I just thought that
I don't disagree with that.
That competitive threat could be more handy, even though she's turning back a little bit.
No, you're right.
Than
She's fast. She's certainly faster than she is.
Her first race is very good. And Pashota, who won then the subsequent fairgrounds effort, is pretty good in her own right. I mean, I remember Cherie telling me she liked her a lot last year. And so she scares me, YOLO. But at least she's going to go around there and save ground.
Yeah, I thought she drew the inside. The other thing is, like, I'm not really sure where else we're supposed to go. I've got Dandy Vandy in there.
I don't want
simply
this
on the
horse.
train. No, simply on the trainer switch.
He has bad numbers.
And the truth is, it's funny how people make up things about buyer figures. And Andy hates California. He's nonsense. He likes Phillies. It's like, I don't even. It's nonsense. It's all wrong.
See, there's other people do it.
California turf horses in general. Andy Buyer loves California racing. Loves been winners out.
I know.
Loves it there. Loves the speed. It's just crap. It's just people don't understand speed figures. You'll almost never see somebody that understands speed figures just blankly criticize a speed figure. It's always people that have no idea how they're even made.
Right.
Their own inadequacies. And they're pandering to stupid people on Twitter. I mean, that's the worst thing that happens. The Pied Piper of stupidity. But I don't like California turf horses as much. Horses that run the California turf, they often seem to underachieve here, to be honest. Our turf races are tougher. They
bought her out of a digital sale. Bridlewood and Madigan. I would love to know the story here, because I looked at her pedigree too, unless they just want to, infuse some European pedigree with her as a broodmare. I don't know. They only paid $34,000 for her, and it's not like she has a great bottom side pedigree. And Mike Maker, first after a trainer change in turf routes with maidens, is 4 for 38 with an 86 cents ROI.
No, I just had trouble finding anybody else I liked in here.
Well, exactly. So, and then two, this comment line is 100% right. Lost footing. She completely lost her entire hind end last time and was crossfiring. She was a heavy favorite that day. Granted, the winner was able to wire the field, and she then had to rush up after that.
She's not much horse, the horse who won the race. She may have wired, but she's not much horse.
Exactly. I didn't want her at all, but I agree with you. There aren't many other options.
Well, American Kestrel, who you have second, is the speed.
Correct.
That's the
her
appeal
advantage.
of her.
And then Sail Away, I know her numbers look really slow, but I didn't think her race last time was that bad against tougher.
I agree. I agree. I have no argument with that. She also was outside, and I think there's an argument the rail might have been a little bit of an advantage that day on the turf. So I'm not convinced she's not possible in here. I just didn't want to cop out with the 11, so I copped out with the second choice in here. We'll see what happens. Race 5. We'll take a break. Maggie and I will be back with the late pick 4.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime, with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Maggie Wolfendale and Andy Serling. Race number 6.
My top pick, Scratch.
Who was your
So,
top pick? Oh, the 5?
good as he gets.
I
loved
actually
him.
was going to have that horse in here as well, so that's
Ugh.
funny.
So
My other horse was a little dangerous as well. I
Yeah.
sort of altered my picks around when the horse scratched. We will take a look at. Why don't we talk about Van Ginkel? Why don't you talk about it? I just thought the horse
It's a funny name.
ran the best race last time. I mean, I
Yeah,
the horse
right.
ran against a better horse that came back and improved.
Yep.
The Riley Mott horse finished third is okay. I just thought it might be the best race this horse is coming out of. That was simple as that.
I agree with you because I don't want Tiz Fervor, that's for certain. And I thought there may be some upside with Royal's Pride, but I just felt like there was recency, there was tactical speed, there were some experience at a distance similar to this mile and 3/16. He's drawn inside.
I just thought he's super logical, and we'll get to Tiz Fervor and Mayor of Midnight in a minute. I did have a replay for Tiz De La Cruz. I just worry for De La Cruz. This
Nice
race is too
try.
short for him.
I know.
And
I
Christophe
mean,
needed to
well-
get a race. Probably couldn't find a race going longer because I think this horse is better going longer. But he's not impossible. He's actually okay. He's also just had too many chances.
Too
And
many
when
chances. Now,
you're
maybe
in
the Blakers going on, sometimes that will revolutionize a horse's outlook and career.
Sometimes it's just desperation.
right.
Carlos Santana riding very well since he's
Very,
been riding
very
here.
well.
So nice
He's
to
a-
see him
He's
here.
a welcome addition, I feel like, to this
I
colony.
agree. But don't worry, I'll mildly criticize him one day and he'll have a temper tantrum, even though we're very nice to Ricardo because we like him.
He rides well.
He does. Good rider.
So, yeah. And then, so Royal's Pride, second dam Royal Delta. I'm sorry, is that where you wanted to go to
No,
next?
go ahead. I love the pedigree. I will say one thing on Royal's Pride. This horse got a preposterous trip last time out, and that might be an okay race because Uncatalyzed is pretty good.
Right,
I
and
know,
Uncatalyzed was favored that day. Ryder dropped the crop. Capitol Hill just went and got him at the
Capitol Hill's
last-
okay, and he got a perfect trip, too.
Perfect
And he
trip.
might be okay. I thought he had a mediocre trip in his next race at Keeneland.
I mean, he just ran like a horse that wants this type of distance. As you said, preposterously wide trip, but he was also just very even. And those kind of one-paced horses, they do tend to stretch out well here.
There have
So
not been too many Dubowis that have done well in this country, though. There's the one that Chad had that ran second the
you
other
think
day.
yeah,
The Dubowis have just not done that well. There haven't been that many, but they haven't
Yeah.
been that good here.
yeah,
I think
that's fair.
I mean, I'm not saying that affects horse chances. I want to show the Mayor of Midnight Tiz Fervor race because I think if you want a horse out of that race, you want Mayor of Midnight.
Yeah.
This horse, I mean, well, Tiz Fervor had an absolutely perfect trip in here, and the race was dominated forward with the long shot holding on. I mean, Mayor of Midnight was 3, 4, 5 wide on the second turn. I thought was dramatically against it. I don't know if the field was that good, but I thought that Mayor of Midnight ran much better than Tiz Fervor did and now gets a much better post. I'm still not convinced he's that good, though. You've left him out.
I have, and I'm not sure why.
I mean, there's a lot. The problem is there's a lot of horses that can win. Listen,
Right, I loved Gun Barrel City in the paddock. First time,
$1 billion pedigree.
$1 billion, right?
Yep.
Got rid of those cojones pretty quickly.
The horse was bet last time because other than passive management, there was nobody else to bet. It was Irad. And
It was a
that
bad
pedigree,
field,
right?
Which
Other than the
scares
winner,
me. But he just, and like you said, the pedigree, and he just.
I can't leave him out with
again,
that pedigree. I'm not
he-
leaving him out.
Right. He looks like a horse that should relish this distance as well. So.
You know, it's funny. Adventurist is a half to just a touch, but there's actually
Yeah.
3 turf winners,
Yeah.
and one of them are okay. So
I
I'll
just don't
be
love
interested to see.
Curlin's on the turf that much.
Yeah, and I don't know if this horse is any good. I think
Good,
they're just
right.
trying something else. It's an interesting race, and I
Yeah.
agree. The Delta's royalty is Royal Delta is the second dam, but people should know about Royal Delta. She comes from a gigantic turf family. I mean, she was
Well,
exceptional.
You
but
know, that was when I first started here, and people ripped me to pieces.
for what?
Because I said she looked like a turf horse in the paddock.
I think Bill would probably agree with you that she's a turf horse, but she was pretty damn good on the dirt.
I know.
But it's like Zenyatta.
Right.
Zenyatta might have been
Right.
freakishly good if they ever run the turf, but there's no reason to.
Or like you think about like a Secretariat, or you even think about like a horse like even like an Uncle Mo or an
Secretary
American
may have been better
Pharaoh.
on turf.
Yeah.
More than Reddy.
Right.
I mean, nobody's going to criticize Todd Pletcher for where he ran more than Reddy. More than Reddy was a funny thing, and I actually remember talking to Todd about this at the time, where he was really a 7 furlong to a mile horse,
Mm-hmm.
but he was so good, and he had to run for Triple Crown preps, and the lead at the 8th pole with the Mig in the Haskell.
Yeah.
He finished second in the Bluegrass, and he never
Right.
really wanted to go that far. And
Right.
once he finally cut him back, he won the King's Bishop, now the Allen Jerkins, and sometimes. More than Reddy, but as it turns out, imagine.
Great turf side.
I'll give you another one. Affirmed. who had no real success as a stallion except on the turf.
Turf, right.
And, you know,
Go
they were
figure.
talking about running him in the Turf Classic, and they ended up retiring him, and they
Yeah.
didn't run in there.
Yeah.
You wonder, Secretariat you mentioned, he, believe it or not, may have been better on the
turf.
grass.
Yeah,
He was an
I
amazing
agree.
horse, yeah. It's funny to see that as it comes out, you know, and sometimes with trainers, they can say, yeah, I kind of thought the horse was a turf horse, but he was so good in the dirt. And
Right.
There's so much more money to be running in the dirt races and as a stallion as well. Race number 7. I feel like I wish we had another 15 minutes. We could talk forever today. I mean, Ball
Yeah,
Don't Lie
show's
is
late.
probably going to win this race. I'm being a wise guy and picking the horse second. I didn't show the last race. I'm showing the horse's maiden win. Something went there. He was a 5-pound bug rider. The horse broke a little slow and took himself out of the race. That worries me a little bit, his last race.
I just wanted a
But
coffee after I read
This,
that name.
I mean, this horse's maiden win. This horse is a stakes horse based on that race. I know he
look at the
flopped Noaz
horse that-
Pereira.
I mean, look at the horses he ran against.
I can't-
Even last time.
You know,
As a favorite, they have all come back and complimented. They have run fast races.
I'm wondering if this horse was running under a stable name in California,
So-
and these are the same owners because they're listed as owners here as opposed to a stable name.
Right, I think they do that. And there was like this, like for some reason, Mark
Mark
Blatt
Blatt? Yeah.
went out at the sales and bought an abundance of 2-year-olds, or New York bred, sorry, and took them all to California. And now I think
They start with an
this
advantage, but not out there.
partnership has realized, there is an advantage in running a New York bred
Yeah.
in New York.
Now, to be fair
So,
to
and-
Mark, with this horse,
Yeah.
this horse broke his maiden with a
Well, same with
97
Train
buyer.
the Trainer. I
Right.
mean, that. So I kind of thought about Train the Trainer, and I said, "Give me Ball, Don't Lie," because I think it was just a one-off with the braking so slow.
I tend to believe that, and if he can show a semblance of the form he once had, they can't beat him in this race. But I'm going to still try because I'm a little worried. And when we take with run and score, he was way against it last time. I thought there was a big
Yep.
speed edge last
Oh,
time.
yeah.
He was out in the middle of nowhere, and I thought he ran extremely
He was
well
the
last
only
time.
horse to make up ground. He
And-
ran
right.
huge.
And so with the fact that because the one, David may be being generous at 8-5, especially with IRAD riding, this horse could end up 3 or 4. And by the way, maybe he should be 4-5 in here
Yeah.
because if he's any semblance of the horse he was, he can't lose in here. What about Attorney Wade getting back to the dirt? I thought his maiden win was pretty good.
good.
He's got to get better. And obviously, listen,
was.
they're all at the mercy of the one. If the
Yeah.
one runs his race, he's going to win. But if he doesn't, I don't see why this horse can't win, getting back to the dirt.
Yeah, and what was that? Dr. Chairman came back and won as well with a 79. So improving there, and he's just a horse that in the paddock I can't necessarily warm up to, but he is the other horse in here to me.
I agree. I thought this maiden win was good, but I'm interested to see what Ball Don't Lie does because he's pretty good, and he's the kind of horse that if he can refine that form, we can see him in New York bred stakes or even open stakes. I mean, this horse is pretty good.
Yeah.
Race number 8. Race number 8. So I'm very.
See, I
I
knew
really
you'd-
want to talk to you about my horse, Alan Turing, who we'll get to in a minute. And
Oh, I
fortunately,
made money on Alan Turing.
You what?
I made money on Alan Turing.
Really? You bet?
I bet because
Really? I'm impressed.
Evan was like, "I can't come to you. There's not enough time," and I was like, "Ugh." And then I sat down with Brian. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I sat down with Brian, who clocks him, and he's like,
Oh.
"Maggie, Alan Turing's working really well." It's like brilliant. So.
We'll get to him because I want to show the 12's replay first. And Rhetorical is going to be a heavy favorite for good reason. I mean,
I
he broke a
know.
length and a half or so slow here, took him out. Now,
But it's a habit, at least in those first 2 races.
I agree.
It's been a habit.
it's been a bit of a concern.
Maybe with the
Got an
blinkers
outside
coming off.
post, but it's funny. I remember after he broke his maiden race, Beyer texted me and said, "Was that horse, that New York bred that broke his maiden race? They should go to the Arc with him." He was joking, but I mean, his maiden win was
very good.
wildly impressive.
Yeah, it was.
He's way the horse to beat in this race, but he's got to. I'm sure Irad. I wonder. I bet you Irad's happy he drew outside. I know, and we should also mention that I don't know how to pronounce that horse's name. The one gets in off the AEs. The Kayet horse, whatever his name is.
Fidel Caillou.
I don't know. We've always
Fidel-
gone through
I
this.
know,
and
I've always-
I think Greg knows how to pronounce it, so I'll rely on him.
Yep.
This is a good horse. He's back. He's way the horse to beat. I'm not, but I'm the only person that's picking Alan Turing, and I may just be an idiot. And listen,
I just thought
I
there was
missed the
more
wedding
speed.
last time. There's no doubt about it. I will tell you something. I'm going to show you the first quarter mile of this horse's race, and then the last quarter mile. This was a remarkable performance. First of all, he gets
slow.
completely left. Then he steadies him back, and now he's back third to last, while the whole race and the whole field's developing in front of him. And very quickly, and keep this rolling, Eddie, for a quarter mile, this horse gets right into it. He's 4 wide. He's got no cover. He got left. He's rushing up into the pace. The horse who finished second was an even money Clement first-time starter in here. Obviously liked. At this point, if you bet him, you're thinking, you know, I might have made a good bet here, and this horse has absolutely no chance whatsoever
Andy,
to win this
that's
race.
Exactly what I'm
and
thinking.
he's wide the whole way. He never had any cover, and he's just rolling. Maybe I missed the boat, and maybe this is much tougher, and I understand, but these are connections that are not going to take a lot of money. This was impressive.
I'm not disagreeing.
How did you not leave him in your top 4?
I look.
Maybe I missed the,
I
maybe
literally
it's missing the wedding.
wrote 6. I usually do 5. I wrote 7 numbers up top here because it's like that type of race where I want some
agree.
coverage in here, and I mean, Fidelity Coyote, I respect getting in here.
I agree. He's dangerous getting in, and that's why I put him 4th when he got in.
I mean, I wanted to I was like, okay, if I'm going to cop out here and pick rhetorical, I want some bombs.
Well, you got a crazy. Well, Charles J's a major player in here. I moved him.
He
from
took him a
4th
while
to
to
5th
put his
when the
act
one got in.
together. And it does feel like Joe Lee's horses are running very well. So I respect him.
What
But
if Mo Crease has got pedigree?
Got pedigree. Physically looks like a turf horse. Obviously has to improve tenfold, but will get Lasix for this start. I didn't mind that Ricardo Santana gets aboard either.
I never mind that. Listen, I think that Leo's reward's not impossible.
I agree.
Calling card.
Dave Donk has terrible numbers stretching out.
He does. He's 4 for $77, $41 ROI. I agree with that, but I think he's dangerous in here. I mean, I just think he's good enough that he has a chance. Calling card, who at some point I'm going to yell at Kirk and tell him that he's badly mishandled this horse. After the maiden win, he took the New York bred and he went on a world tour with him. He's now run at 4 different racetracks since then. He actually ran okay in the Gotham. He got in trouble. He should be running in mile dirt races and stop this nonsense. But he didn't run badly on the turf, and I don't think he's impossible in here, and he drew pretty well. He's also 4 to 1.
I just don't like him on the turf. He's the one that I wanted to play against.
He should be in dirt races. He should be running a mile in the dirt here.
4 to 1, and he looks like a dirt horse to me. So, and I feel like there's been so many missed opportunities now with this horse.
I completely agree. I've texted with Kirk about it. I mean, he's a good friend of mine and a super smart guy, but I think he's not handled this horse with aplomb. Race number 9. I do make fun of my friends as well as I don't make fun of too many people if I don't like them because they tend to cry. Race number 9, not that anybody's ever complained to Maggie and I.
What?
I'm not going to get into it. I'll talk to you afterwards. I've done it too many times. Last race comes along and I copped out. We'll take a look at Battle
Join the
Drums.
club, Andy. Welcome
race
to the
2
dark
back.
side.
Well, I mean, I don't know. This horse is, I know he's cutting back, but Todd doesn't have, but here I got a stat. You'll probably look this up. Turning back maidens on the turf, Todd's 3 for 9 with a 566 ROI.
I didn't write that down just because it was a smaller sample, but
I know.
it's good.
It's interesting only because he's 0 for 31 with non-maidens.
Right.
So it is kind of funny that he's done it well
Yeah.
here. And the other thing is, Maggie, I just didn't like anybody else in here, to be honest with you. Though I agree with you, the 7 does have pedigree, and I put the horse second.
Yes. I liked Air in the paddock last time. And I thought maybe it was a good sign. And maybe he ultimately doesn't want to be ridden like that, although they are putting blinkers on. And I like the fact that Linda and Jose were aggressive with this horse because that's what had gotten him beat in many of his other previous efforts. He was just lagging behind, too far at the back. So actually putting him in a race, getting him involved, I thought was a good stepping stone. And I do like this pedigree. I love candy rides on the turf. There's enough pedigree on the bottom. There have been 2 out of 3 half siblings, one of it that have tried it. So.
No, I agree. I have no argument with that. And I didn't have too many other places to go in this race. You've got the 10. Sounds like fun second. I know David liked this horse. What do you guys like about this horse?
I like the fact that, first time.
He's just improved since his first start.
Right,
He's just a better
and there's
horse.
pedigree for him to be okay on the
fair.
turf.
That's fair.
And obviously he's run, at least his last dirt race, stretching out was good. So, or I'm sorry, he's cutting back now. And I do think he is more of a sprinter. But I like you said, I just think he's a better horse.
Yeah, no, I agree. I
Now.
see that logic. I think that's a very, very reasonable logic. Maggie, a pleasure as it always is.
Yeah.
Head over to Naira Bets, use the promo code MATCH200. We'll match the $200 of your initial deposit. We have a $5,000 Belmont Stakes challenge Friday and Saturday on track and online as well. Not only will it be seated, but it's seated with 2 Breeders' Cup betting challenges seats, which have a value of $10,000. Check out the info at nairabets.com/contest. Eddie's very excited because he loves the cross country. Eddie's like 30% of the handle in every cross country pick 5. 3 at Monmouth, 2 at Belmont. All those races will be on America's Day at the Races from 3 to 5:30. The MIG will be joining us upstairs. You will be in the paddock.
Yep.
Acacia gets a little time off after she worked until
Deservedly
4 in the morning
so.
covering harness racing. She
Yeah.
is a trooper.
Yeah.
She really is.
I mean, she really takes one for the team in doing those
really
shows.
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do not envy her when she's in Saratoga until 11 o'clock at night out there.
No.
All right, we're done. Chris Griffin's just getting started with the reprise of the Scratch and Changes. Have a great day.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at nairabets.com.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Belmont at the Big A. At this time, we ask that you please rise, remove your caps as we honor America with the playing of the national anthem. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the New York Racing Association Live Racing Belmont at the Big A. 9 races on today's Sunday afternoon card. The main track is fast and the turf is firm. 9 races coming your way. Here are today's scratches and changes. Belmont at the Big A. Race 1. Start of the early pick 5. Scratch the 1, First Class Cat. Race 2, start of the early pick 4. The 3 is +3. Rider is the name change there. Just the name adjustment for Frank Gonzalez, +2. The 6 will wear 2 open-toe bar shoes again. Race 3, start of the middle pick 4. Scratch the 4, Love Me Not. The 7 is +1. Today's 4th race. Race 4, start of the pick 6. Scratch the 6, No Confession. Race 5, start of the late pick 5. The 7 will wear cheek piece again. Scratch the 13, Paraíba Blue. Scratch the 14, My Gorgeous. Scratch the 15, Lady McSparkles. Scratch the 16, Ragtime Sizzle. Race 6, start of the late pick 4. Scratch the 1, Extraordinary 1. Scratch the 1A, Bright Angel. Scratch the 5, Good As He Gets. Scratch the 13, Cooper. Scratch the 14, Bad Boy Butch. Race 7, scratch the 5, Smile and Say Cheese. Race 8, scratch the 1A, Corvus. The 11 is +1. Scratch the 13, El Delary. Scratch the 14, Kingdom on Pause. Scratch the 15, Incantation. Race 9, scratch the 1A, Dark Devil. Scratch the 1X, Cada Dia Mejor. The 2 is a Ridgeling. The 6 is +3. Scratch the 11, Tomorrow's Wish. Scratch the 12, Honorary American. Scratch the 13, Razor Cat, and scratch the 14, Barb. 9 races on today's Sunday afternoon program. Main track is fast, turf is firm. Early pick 5, race 1 is coming up. 6.5 furlong, scratch the 1. Race 1, 26 minutes away. Belmont at the Big A is next. Good luck.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at nairabets.com.